Is the Quest 3 better than the PSVR 2? Should you upgrade from your Quest 2? Or are you better off just going all out and just picking up the Quest Pro? All these answers and more in this in-depth video comparison. So let's have some fun and start off with the ugly. The Quest 2 does not have an individual display per eye, as it's just one giant LCD display that you expect to find on a smartphone. Then both the Quest Pro as well as the Quest 3 are using individual per eye display LCDs. And the PSVR 2, same concept, individual displays per eye, but these are OLED, which perform better, especially in dark environments, as the black pixels will entirely turn off. And all this was proven to us thanks to iFixit. If you like to have rich contrast, the capability to read text, individual displays are recommended for the best VR experience. Now on paper, the Quest 3 does outperform all the other VR headsets, including the Quest Pro, as its resolution per eye is much higher and goes up to 120 Hz, which is today's industry standard in my opinion for VR gaming. The PSVR also matches is 120 Hz. And now if we're concerned about the field of view, both the Quest 3 as well as the PSVR 2 are on par with each other, delivering up to 110 field of views. However, for my testings, I have noticed if you wear glasses like I do and you extend your fascia visor to the max, you could probably expect to realistically see around 90-degree field of view, which is still enjoyable, but just something I want to cover. It's equivalent to the Quest 2. And then something I'm not a huge fan about the Quest 2 is the IPD slider. It's easily one of the worst in the industry. It only has 3 settings, and the first one is 58mm, second one is 63, and the last one is 68, and that's it. You're fixed and stuck between those IPD sliders. Meanwhile, the other 3 headsets have an actual dial that allows you to actually get the exact IPD rating that you need. And the Quest Pro, as well as the PSVR 2, feature eye tracking capabilities, which means it could automatically dial to your IPD slider adjustment automatically during the setup procedure. But the PSVR is the only one that does it digitally. Meanwhile, the Quest Pro, you still have to manually move the adjustments right here, but super convenient over the Quest 2. And now when it comes to graphical power, when you compare it against the Quest 2, the Quest 3, and the Quest Pro, the Quest 2 graphics are very mediocre. As you see here, the shade texture, the skin texture, skin tone looks much more advanced on the Quest 3. And then when you compare the Quest 2 with the PSVR, thanks to the PSVR 2 utilizing the PlayStation 5 graphics, specs, and all that stuff, you can also see and tell right here the texture, everything else just looks so much better on the PSVR 2. And then as we move on and actually compare the Quest Pro against the Quest 2 and the latest 3, you could see that the Quest 2 just looks buzzy, blurry, not rich or very contrast at all. It's hard to tell like the small detail. Everything just looks like you're viewing everything through like a piece of glass. It just doesn't look crisp is what I'm trying to say. And again, this is all thanks to the individual screens that's available per eye. Meanwhile, the Quest 2 is utilizing one smartphone display. As I originally stated, this is the benefits where this come into play. But I have to admit, the PSVR 2 is not perfect, because the sweet spot unfortunately is so small and narrow. As soon as the headset slightly moves, your vision is a blur. Even with the tracking capability, the eye tracking support that it has, it's able to deliver in-game field of view experience, giving you that like far distance capability where the objects that you're looking at is in focus. Meanwhile, the background objects are blurred out. The PS5 does that extremely well thanks to the PSVR 2. None of the other 3 headsets have this capability, but I'm sure with small software tweaks they could do something similar, but will not come close to what the PSVR is capable of doing. But if I would have picked only 2 headsets, I'll personally pick the Quest Pro as well as the Quest 3, because unfortunately where the PSVR 2 does suffer is the mirror effect, which are primarily caused due to its outdated lens, because it's still using the Frano lens. In case you're not familiar with that, basically this mirror effect, if you accidentally look for it, it will ruin the VR immersion, as it just makes everything look VR. You literally can't see the screen door effect, unfortunately. No matter how much you tweak it, how many settings you change, regardless, you'll still end up seeing the mirror effect. And this is somewhat still visible in the Quest 2. Meanwhile, the Quest Pro as well as the Quest 3, you rarely even see it. It's actually impossible for me to even notice it, even when viewing content like TV shows, movies, 4K videos on the Quest 3. It's so amazing and clear. And when it comes to viewing text, reading stuff like on screen, like using your workspace and stuff, the Quest 3 as well as the Quest Pro beats it hands down. But overall, the best one is the Quest 3 thanks to its higher resolution and clarity. The Quest 3 is actually the most clear VR headset available in the market, easily making this into the VR standard. Now, all four of these headsets have external cameras, and they all have some type of safety measurement, like a guardian or boundary, that prevents you from smacking your head against a wall. And all of them do it extremely well. Just on the Quest 2, it's a black and white image. Same goes for the PSVR2. And it's not really the clearest either, but was definitely useful whenever you need to enable pass-through mode to see who's yelling your name across the room or navigate through a hallway or something just to grab a drink as an example. But the Quest 2 was the only one with a cool nifty trick, because when you use an IR illuminator, you could basically treat these as night vision goggles. Now both the Quest Pro as well as the Quest 3 do support color. However, the contrast and clarity from the camera that could deliver on the Quest 3 is much more clear compared to the Quest Pro. Here you can see a side-by-side example. As here's the Quest Pro, I'm playing a mixed reality game, and yeah, I can see the subjects, my furniture and stuff, but it's nowhere near as clear as the Quest 3. It even makes viewing like your cell phone screen more visible too on the Quest 3 than it is on the Quest Pro, which is why the Quest 3, this is literally the best VR headset available in the market, in my opinion. That's perfect for mixed reality gaming. In second place, I have to give it to Quest Pro. Has this capability, just doesn't look as clear as the Quest 3 does in terms of its mixed reality. And then third place has to be the Quest 2. Even though it's in black and white, this could still be able to deliver that cool mixed reality experience for mixed reality gaming. The PSVR 2 unfortunately doesn't have any mixed reality gaming, nor does it look like PlayStation's ever interested in bringing mixed reality for the PSVR 2. So just a quick heads up, if you're looking for a mixed reality headset, the Quest 2, 3, and Pro can deliver this. Then when it comes to overall comfort, I have to give it to the PSVR 2, because yes, your boy shaved his head, but this halo strap design that the PSVR has is brilliant. It's so easy to adapt, it's so comfortable, it's so cool. In fact, if I'm wearing my prescription glasses, I'm currently wearing contacts, this is the only way I can rock this look, but if I put my glasses on with bulky frames, well, wide frames I should say, I could fit it in here comfortably, which means it's super convenient passing it around without fear somebody's big frame glasses scratching up your VR lens. And this little silicone thing that it has going on does an excellent job in making sure there's no light leakage from easily leaking in. Just however, it is very unfortunate that this needs to be tethered to your PS5. Cable is extremely long, like about 14.7 feet length. Playing VR in the PSVR headset, the cable ruins the whole VR immersion. And then in second place for comfort easily goes to the Meta Quest Pro. This also utilizes a similar halo strap design, but it has more adjustable points, as this portion right here has a slider that allows you to adjust the forehead section, and it doesn't ruin your hair as well, because there's this little gap right here. If I had hair, I'll be able to demonstrate. But out of box, the Quest Pro is extremely comfortable. There really isn't any need to do any modifications. Meanwhile, the Quest 2 as well as the Quest 3, if you're still using the stock strap, which literally is some type of medieval head strap design, or what like Stu Reviews like to call it, the devil jock strap. Seriously, it's torturous, which is why it's highly advised picking up the Elite strap that goes along with the Quest headset, or get like another third-party head strap like the Bobo VR is one I personally recommend. Follows the same halo strap design, but out of box, no. The Quest 2 and the Quest 3, their head straps are very uncomfortable. You need to upgrade. But once you have an upgraded head strap, yeah, these things can be extremely comfortable, almost on par to the Meta Pro, not the PSVR. I still think the PSVR is more comfortable. It just sucks that it just has that cable that needs to be tethered onto the console. So comfort, PSVR 2 wins. But when it comes to gameplay library, yes, the PlayStation VR 2 does have some amazing fun exclusives, but it's really just Gran Turismo and Horizon. That's it. Yes, there's a bunch of other VR games available for the PSVR 2 as well, but they're all ports of video games that are available on the Meta store library. So all those games are just ported to the PSVR 2, and they're not really utilizing the PlayStation 5 hardware to their full advantage. It's been 8 months now and the library still remains the same from the PlayStation VR 2 launch date. So that's kind of disappointing. Meanwhile, Meta continues rolling out some amazing games. You have mixed reality games like Lego, and then Assassin's Creed, Medal of Honor, and for the most immersive extreme VR gaming, you also have the capability to use these 3 VR headsets for PC VR gaming, which can utilize your computer rig, GPU, and processor and storage. And if you're on the Quest Pro or the Quest 3, you'll be able to utilize the high resolution display panels to its full potential. And unlike Sony console, there's no restriction when it comes to the Meta gaming library. If you want to, some of these library games that's available support mods, so you can literally play Call of Duty Nazi Zombies if you want to in VR. You can't do that on the PlayStation 5. And you also have access to sideload, which in other words, it's kind of like jailbreaking your device, but it's not really legal or anything like that, or nor does it void your warranty, but allows you to download community-made games that are in the beta stage early before it actually becomes available on the Meta store. There's a lot of detail about this, but you have more freedom to play whatever game you like to play on the Quest 2 and the Quest 3, as well as the Quest Pro. Heck, you even have support for Roblox, which that alone I think is a massive selling point. So, all these VR headsets have their own variety of different price tags. The most affordable one is the Quest 2. As you can find, it's still selling in retail stores for $299 for the entry-level storage model, which is the 128 gigabytes. Meanwhile, the Quest 3 retails with its lowest storage option, the 128 gigabytes, for just $499. And then the PSVR 2, you'll be able to find it around $550. Just however, you will need a PlayStation 5 console. So if you don't have one already, you need to add that to the price tag, so you're looking around $1,000. And that brings it next to the Quest Pro price tag, as originally it was for sale for $1,500, and now you can find it for $995. With the max storage of 256 gigabytes, which I think the Quest 3 is a better value because the specs, even though it doesn't have the same amount of RAM, but has double the storage capacity if you pay $150 more. $650 Quest 3, you will get 512 gigabytes of storage, which is amazing. And kind of makes me upset because my headset was more expensive and didn't even come with that much storage. So all in all, to summarize everything, if you were to ask me which VR headset is perfect for most consumers, it will be this. If you already have a PS5 and you love some of your AAA title games that are exclusive to Sony, the PSVR 2 is definitely a good choice. The Quest 2 is perfect for those who are on a budget because you could buy a used Quest 2 headset on eBay for around $200, bundled with a bunch of other accessories at a ridiculous affordable price tag. You'll still utilize hand tracking capabilities, but you'll lose some of the new modern day mixed reality experiences. But even though it's an older VR headset, the community is still strong. It still will technically be irrelevant, especially for VR gaming, but even better for a PC VR headset. And then the Quest 3 honestly is the new standard for VR gaming, as it has such an amazing capability that no other VR headset can match for its price tag. Even though it's more expensive than the Quest 2, this thing is extremely advanced. The pass-through mode is amazing. It has time of flight sensors for the best mixed reality experience. The Meta 3 wins hands down for being the best resolution VR headset. Its pancake lens makes reading text easy and clear, and you don't have to deal with the PlayStation limitation in terms of finding that sweet spot to prevent that mirror effect from happening, and it's using old-fashioned lens. The Quest 3 is using modern-day pancake lens. Text is easy to read. Yes, it doesn't have OLED, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Once you put on the headset, you will still be fully immersed. And then the Meta Pro is advertised to be used for enterprise purposes, but honestly, this is available in retail stores. Consumers are easily able to get their hands on this. It's much harder getting your hands on an enterprise drone than it is to this. So the fact that this is not really marketed to be enterprise use This is a great VR headset for those who like using like VR chats or social apps to communicate, because this is the only VR headset that truly does feature face tracking capabilities. And then the Quest 3, honestly, it's the best of both worlds. Although it doesn't have a face tracking capability, if you just want to play VR games, this is it. Especially since it supports mixed reality, this thing is really fun and amazing, and the modern tech really does make the Quest 3 the new VR standards. So there you guys have it. Comment down below what's your thought about all these 3 headsets. I know this is a quick summary of like who I think these headsets are for, but feel free to share your thoughts and opinions as well. Now, if you'd like to watch more, I highly recommend checking out this video over here where I cover my favorite accessories I have for the PSVR2. And in the video description down below, there's a tips and trick video for that headset as well. And then that video over there, that's a tips and trick video for the Quest 3. Thank you so much for watching.